Hey guys, what's up? My name is Nick, and this is another episode of Fat Man Down. So what's up guys, it's been a long while since I've made a video. Not a lot's been happening, but I've still been losing weight, which has been going really well. So what have I been doing for the last 2 or so months since I've been, offline? Basically, I went and saw a dietitian about 2 months ago, which was really good. I was feeling like the biggest error in my weight loss that I've ever tried before has been my diet. Every single time I've done exercise, I've tried dieting, but I'm still not eating the right foods, I'm still not getting the right level of nutrients, I'm still falling back on old habits when, shit hits the fan. So, because I thought, you know what, I need to try and change all of my habits and I need to try and be better about types of food that I'm eating, I thought, fuck it, I'll go see a dietitian and hopefully it'll be all good. So I went and saw a guy called Andrew Hall from a place called Apple to Zucchini. It's somewhere over there in Kelvin Grove. It's really good. Highly recommend them. But since then, I have gone from, I think, 154 I was when I made my last video to 146.2 today. Hopefully, with any luck, I'll be 145 before the end of next week, which is sort of like my goal. Now, obviously, I still haven't been able to do too much exercise because of my back, but since losing a bit of weight and I've been eating a lot better, I've started feeling a bit more energy. So for the last week or so, I've been trying to do a little bit more exercise. A lot of that exercise, though, isn't, going out and me physically trying to do exercise, but it's things like I'm walking, home from university, which is over at QUT, which, I mean, it's not too far, but it's about a 45-minute walk at my pace because it's uphill and stuff. So that's been really helpful in sort of getting me started on the exercise train, which is good. So my new diet that I've been working on with my dietitian has been great. It's resulted in me having, more set goals for what I'm going to be eating all the time. So for breakfast, we're looking more at like things such as oats and eggs on toast, which is kind of good. And then for lunch, we're looking at, veggies, some meat, and a little bit of carbs. So what I've been having most days for lunch is a chicken and cheese toasty with tomato, with a bowl of broccoli, and basically that's been going really well. So that's probably my favorite lunch that I've got. I don't have too many options in the way of lunch, or mostly because I'm too lazy to make them, but that's sort of been my staple lunch for the last 2 months. Dinner, on the other hand, has been a little bit more challenging. I'm still falling behind every now and again with dinner. Sometimes I'm having a bad meal every now and again, which isn't the best, but I haven't let that, push me back or say, hey, I'm gonna fail now because I've had one bad meal. I've kept trying to improve what I'm doing. I've kept trying to be healthy as much as I can. But dinner, I'm having lots and lots of vegetables, which is great. So it'll be like tons of veggies, piece of meat, and some carbs of some description. Now, I thought I shouldn't be having carbs, around dinner time, but apparently it's making me feel really hungry when I'm not having carbs, which is resulting in me snacking later on in the night. Especially if I'm staying up late, I end up snacking, around midnight, which is really bad because I'm never snacking on anything good. But anyway, guys, the reason I made this video wasn't just to tell you how I'm going, but also to let you know some awesome stuff that's been happening since I've started losing weight. Now, the first thing I've noticed in starting to lose weight is that I have actually been able to fit into some of my old clothes again. Before Christmas time, I ended up throwing tons of my old clothes away, which kind of sucked. I didn't really throw them away. I put them in big plastic bags and put them in storage. But about a month ago or so, once I sort of broke that 150 mark, I decided I'm going to go and have a look in those old clothes because some of the clothes I got for Christmas aren't fitting me properly anymore. I got these big pants for Christmas that even at Christmas time, they were big on me because at that time I was sort of putting on more weight continuously. And so Mum bought me pants that were, a bit bigger than me, expecting me to get bigger. But since I've lost a fair bit of weight already, these pants are basically falling down whenever I walk, and I don't own a belt, so that's been kind of a problem. So anyway, I went through, dug out a whole bunch of old clothes, and I fit into quite a few of them actually, which is really good. It makes me feel great knowing that I can see I may not be able to see the results perfectly, but I'm fitting into old clothes well, which is great, which means I am managing to lose weight because I wasn't fitting into those clothes before. But now we're going to talk about the big thing and the big reason that I made this video today. And funnily enough, it's about chairs. So I'll give you a little bit of backstory. Last year, sort of mid-semester, in the second semester, we had mid-semester exams, and in our mid-semester exams, we did a lot of them in lecture halls. And I'm not sure how many of you guys have been into lecture halls, but the lecture halls have like weird pullover desks that you sort of, like you're sitting on the chair, and then you pull the desk across you, and then you sort of just write on the desk. But last year, because I was so heavy and so overweight, when I went to pull that desk over, rather than clipping in nicely and me having a nice area to write on, it would hit my stomach, and it would be stuck at an angle like this, right? And so when I'm sitting there writing my midsem exam, I'm writing on a weird angle the whole time. And not only was that annoying as shit to write on, but, it didn't feel good to know that, I couldn't even fit into a lecture hall thing. And, I was uncomfortable the entire time because I'm, being forced into the side of this little chair. And it was terrible. It was actually so bad that it made me not want to go to any lectures. So I didn't attend any lectures at all. I just didn't feel comfortable with it. And even this semester, after I've lost some weight, I still didn't want to attend any lectures or anything like that because I felt bad. And I was worried about going to tutorials as well, in case I was sitting tutorials in lecture halls, because I didn't want to have that problem come up again. So anyway, fast forward to mid-semester this semester, and I'm prepping for, I think I had 2 exams, both in lecture halls, and I knew that was coming up, and I was so nervous about that. That was probably what most of my nerves were. It wasn't about the exam itself, but it was about knowing that I had to squeeze myself into one of these chairs with these pullover desks. And it was the same building as the last one as well, so I knew where I was going, and I knew how big these chairs were, so I was sitting there freaking out a bit. But anyway, I went in, and I sat down. And I sat down, I felt myself sit in the chair a little bit more comfortably, and I'm like, okay. I'm sitting in there a little bit more comfortably, but I'm like, alright, it's time. I'm going to pull it across. So I pulled it across, and I kept pulling, I kept pulling, and I kept pulling, and I kept pulling, and then it sat there. It wasn't hitting my stomach anymore. There was like a 2-finger gap, or it was like 2 or 3 centimeter gap between the desk and my stomach, and I sat there, and as soon as I felt that was sitting there flat, and it wasn't pushing against me, I felt my confidence fly through the roof. I know that sounds silly to a lot of people, but a lot of people who are in shape or even just not obscenely overweight, they have no problems fitting into these chairs, it's just something that they do every day. But for me, that was a huge milestone, because I was so worried about attending university stuff and so worried about, being judged in those environments because I couldn't fit into this chair. And I went in there and I sat down, I fit into it perfectly. There was no problems with it. And I could not believe it. I was so excited. I was so happy. And I ended up blitzing that exam because I was super happy. I was like, doesn't matter how I do in this exam, hey, I'm happy with what I've achieved. But since that day, my confidence it's been a lot better in public. I'm feeling a lot better walking around, in public a bit more. One of the big things I have noticed is cinemas. I got really nervous about breaking chairs in cinemas. I was so petrified that I was going to break a chair in a cinema. I didn't want to go because the chairs were uncomfortable, and I was sort of squished in between the 2 armrests. And I was often putting up the armrest to the chair next to me and sort of letting myself flow over into that chair, which is just not good. And I didn't like going to the movies and stuff. But 2 days ago, yesterday, it was yesterday. Yesterday, I went and saw the latest Avengers film, and it was fantastic. I walked in there, and I sat down in the thing, and I was expecting to have to, move the thing up as I normally do, but I sat in the chair, and it fit perfectly. I wasn't spilling into the next seat. I wasn't being pushed in like a little sardine. I was sitting there just perfectly fine. But yeah, look, I thought this stuff was all awesome, and maybe it doesn't mean too much to you guys, but stuff like that means quite a bit to me, and I thought I'd share it with all of you. Now, I know some of you guys have been trying to lose weight as well. I got a couple of messages from some of you when I first started making these videos, and you're saying, hey, it's great, that you're doing this, and, I've been doing this as well, blah, 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 and you've been telling me how you've been going. But, since I haven't made a video in a long time, I haven't really kept up with, how you guys have been going. So feel free to message me, let me know, hey, how are you guys going? Have you been keeping up with weight? How much weight have you lost? All of that. Or just chuck them down the comment section down below, and, yeah, let me know there. Another thing is I've recently been using an app called Myfitnesspal to sort of start tracking my calories. Now that I've been on my diet for quite a while, I've sort of wanted to sort of see how much it is that I'm eating, and if I'm having snacks, in between the day, how is that affecting my diet, and it sort of helps me keep a live track of how much that I'm eating each day, rather than having to sit down each night and fill out my Excel spreadsheet with the types of food that I've been eating. Now, I'll be honest with you, I haven't been keeping up with it great, but I am trying to sort of put a fair bit of effort into it at the moment. So feel free to add me. I think it's just Nick. My username, I think, is just Nick Sutherland with no space in between. It should be popping up on the screen right now. Feel free to add me on Myfitnesspal, and you should be able to see everything that I am eating. And you can also, if you add me, I should be able to see what you guys eat, and sort of we can help keep each other on track that way. Anyway, guys, that is all for the time being. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.